And the title of presentation is Slow Down with Slow Box. You have 20 minutes for presentation and 10 minutes for discussion. Take it away, please.
Great, thank you. So I'm Linden, and like Jan said, my project is called Slow Down with Slow Box. So I'll just be discussing the evolution of my project from ideation to research to prototyping and then the final products. So the way that I came up with this project, I had spent the past year paying more attention to how much I fill my schedule, how fast people are rushing around, especially living in Boston, how we're always wishing for Friday or weekends or vacations when the week has only just begun, and overall the impacts that our rush culture has on our lives. And throughout my college career, I've just continually packed my schedule full with full-time classes, 3 jobs. And in the past year, when I was noticing these things, I was commuting an hour to school and back. So I felt like I was focusing on working so much that I left myself no time for unwinding and taking care of myself, just because I was going to school, to work, to another job, commuting home, and then shutting my eyes just to do it all over again. So I noticed that many people felt the same way. And with this in mind, I wanted to take this opportunity to explore how design can help us as a culture to slow down and enjoy our lives more. So more often than not, when you ask someone how they're doing, you'll also hear, good, I'm just very busy. And as one of these people, like I said, I just needed to take a step back and find a solution to this problem. Many people think that there's only one solution, and even attempting to slow down might feel unattainable or really daunting for people. And my goal is to use design to begin the conversation about slow living and give people the tools to attain it. So I began the project with my researchable question, which is, how can design help us as a culture to slow down and live more meaningful and joyful lives? As I began my research, these are some quotes that I found that really inspired me and validated the feelings I was having during my commute. The Mindful Company served as a very inspirational source for me. They speak a lot about the slow living movement and its importance. So here they state, in the modern world where there is a constant need to be busy and or act like you are, this movement stems from a need to take back the power to own our lives rather than let ourselves be owned by our insecurity of needing more. The next one reads, many of us live our lives running behind time, but we only reach it when we die of a heart attack or in a car accident rushing to be on time. Others are so anxious to live for the future that they forget to live the present, which is the only time that truly exists. And this one hit home for me. Like, that's exactly how I felt just watching everybody rush around. I just felt like nobody was really taking into account where they were. And then the next one reads, we all have equal time throughout the world. No one has more or less. The difference lies in what each of us do with our time. We need to live each moment. And the last one, I was inspired by this quote by a poet, Hermann Hesse. And he says, the high value put upon every minute of time, the idea of hurry, hurry is the most important objective of living, is unquestionably the most dangerous enemy of joy. So from here, to inform my audience and the project as a whole, I began collecting data through surveys that I sent out, and I asked people their age, occupation, free time activities that they participated in, how they like to start and end their days, and how often they felt they were really living in the moment. And overall, it seemed like this problem was mostly affecting people like me who were working professionals and students, because they're generally the busiest people. And here are some quotes that I took from these surveys. In response to one of the questions, how do you spend your off time? Jessica said, weekends are spent chasing a paycheck weekdays, and weekends are spent chasing a life. It's cyclical. I want to spend my time off relaxing, but I'm all over the place. Similarly, Casey said, I feel a lot of the time I spend my days off catching up from my work days. And then in another question, what do you wish you could utilize to slow down, but might not have the time, money, or resources for? Dan said, I wish the entire world would slow down. It feels like one giant rush to the end. So these quotes really validated like all of the research that I was doing and the way that I was feeling myself. So from these highlights, it was clear that I wasn't the only one feeling this way, and that I needed to create something to help people feel more grounded and really get back to the basics. So from after I had finished my survey and went through all the answers, I started creating categories based on the answers that people gave me, specifically from the question, what helps you to slow down, de-stress, and or live in the moment? And so the first category is called active, which includes answers such as like going to the gym, going on walks and runs, attending exercise classes, and overall just moving their bodies and being active. The next is creative, which includes writing, creating any kind of art, any medium, listening to music, taking photos, and cooking new things. Comfort includes staying home, wearing comfortable clothes, watching shows and movies, indulging in snacks, relaxing on the couch. Mindful is practicing mindfulness, breathing exercises, yoga, meditation, and noticing small details in their environments. Nature is being outdoors, hiking, visiting new places, traveling, enjoying nice weather, and gardening and taking care of plants. Organize is organizing their space, cleaning and getting rid of things, scheduling their week, and using calendars, to-do lists, reminders, anything that helps them organize and schedule. Self includes what a lot of people say, self-care, spa days, showering and bathing, and even haircuts. A lot of people said that like that really helped them to slow down. Socialize includes connecting with others, talking to family and friends, texting or calling people, sharing meals, drinking and cooking together, and engaging in any sort of activity with others. And so the most important question was, how often do you feel you are living in the moment? This was one of the last ones. And I was not surprised to find that myself, among other students and working professionals, answered similarly. So 50% of people said sometimes, 25% said rarely, 21.9% said often, and then only 3.1% of the participants said they always feel like they were living in the moment, which leaves the vast majority of the participants struggling to live in the moment, be present and enjoy life. And this was one of the most major problems that I found. Another question was what people felt like they had to utilize their slow down time, but they didn't have time, resources, or money for. So overall, I pinpointed that it came down to this that determined how easily people were able to capitalize on their time to slow down and enjoy the moment. And this research overall informed my purpose of creating like a toolbox to give people access to the things that they needed. From here, I hosted 2 workshops in class to test ways to help people slow down and inform my final deliverables. So the first workshop was focused on setting intentions at the beginning of the day and then reflecting on those same intentions at the end of the day for 1 week. And then the second focused on drawing the inside of what your unique toolbox might look like. For the first workshop, one of my participants began writing his intentions each day. And then as he got through the week, he sort of made a turnaround, and instead of writing things that he felt like he had to complete, like tasks during each day, he wrote things that he wanted to feel or do. And I thought this was really creative because it's not often that we consider this throughout our daily lives. And to me, this felt like a really integral piece of this project because I wanted people to be able to slow down and really like feel and experience things. And then in the next workshop, I gave my group the prompt, draw the inside of your toolbox depicting contents that help you slow down. And this was my example of the things that helped me. So I explained that these things can be both tangible and intangible, to touch on like the experience part of this project. And the results that I got from my survey in both of these workshops really informed the way in which I curated the box types that I was going to be creating within the series. And then before I started my final deliverables, I defined what was missing in the world as we know it to help people slow down. And I decided that people are always told to slow down and practice self-care, but they're not given the tools to do it. And some people just don't know how or what works for them. I also decided that like slowing down can't consist of just one single tool because everybody's different and they have their own unique ways of unwinding. So what works for one person may not work for another, and that's okay. And then another thing that I noticed in my daily life and from the data was that everyone always asks you how you're doing in passing, and they expect you to say good, but whether it's true or not, but nobody asks you exactly how you're feeling. So I wanted to create a toolkit based on the user's needs that would inform how they wanted to slow down and feel on a daily basis. And I really wanted this toolkit to be available at people's fingertips. So creating a series of boxes that come full of the brand's slow down goods would really be the most accessible for people. And most of all, creating this toolkit full of activities would allow people to really experience the act of slowing down and share it with other people. So I started off by branding and creating my logo. So I created the Slowbox brand with hand-drawn shapes and illustrations that represents each part of the series based on the categories that I made from my research. I wanted the colors to feel really calm and cool, but I also wanted them to feel a little curious because I wanted people to really engage with the final product, as well as the type, which is relaxed, but it's also like a little funky. So I wanted people to be excited about receiving their box just from its appearance and spark curiosity with what was inside. And overall, I just thought it was important to find this balance to help people sit down and be with their box and really engage with it and take that time. I then used the same categories I made to inform what went inside of each box. So the creative box would include a sketchbook, some prompts for drawing and engaging with it, and then some Instagram activities, writing utensils, and a curated playlist. And then the active box would include workout prompts, Instagram activities, a water bottle, some supplies based on your chosen exercises, and then coupons for exercise classes to get people out there and engaged. And then the mindful box would include breathing gifts on Instagram, meditation prompts, yoga class coupons, and a daily details journal similar to what the participant in my second workshop did. And then the comfort box would include a mug, tea mix, a puzzle, a blanket, and Instagram activities. The self box would include self-care supplies such as like lotions, skincare, stuff like that. Reflection prompts for intentions and reflections during your day, a journal to write those in, and Instagram activities. And then the organized box would include a slow down calendar, to-do list, and reminders, but these are not meant for work or school. It's for people who benefit from writing in calendars and to-do lists. But it would be to schedule their slow down time specifically. And then the nature box would include outdoor prompts, Instagram activities, location suggestions, a small Polaroid camera to document their travels, and then an easy hammock that you can set up anywhere. The socialized box would include dinner table conversation cards to get people really sitting down during their meals and engaging with one another, a recipe book, a bartender guide, shot glasses, and Instagram activities. And to my point that everyone has their own ways of slowing down, I created a custom slow box so people who have many different ways of slowing down could combine them. So it's filled with anything that helps you slow down from the series, especially if you align with more than one of the boxes shown. And then I created a website for users to learn more about the brand and shop the series of boxes. So it just brings you through the brand, what it offers, and how it works. It shows the mission statement, states that everyone slows down differently, and we honor that. prompts you to tell us more about yourself, and then enjoy and share on Instagram. The frequently asked questions just go through what you might need to know, and then these are people's Instagrams that would be showcased at the bottom. So when you go to join the community, it'll ask you a little bit about yourself, what your name is, and then how you spend your time off. And each of these categories is from my research that goes with each box. How you start your day, and then how you end your day. And you could choose more than one if it's applicable to you, and then how you want to feel every day. And then from here, it would match you with the box that aligns with what you want to feel and how you want to slow down. So for each box, it would show you the contents. This mindful slow box comes with yoga class coupons, a journal, and then it's related to the Instagram. There are reviews from people who have bought this box before, and then it shows you what you might also like based on your interests. And then you can add it to your cart. There's also some codes that you can add for free shipping and stuff. And this is what the screen would look like before you check out. Again, showing you boxes that you might also like. And then you can shop the whole series on the screen, give a description of each one. And then there's also an option for the custom slow box and a prompt to join if you haven't already. So to customize, it shows you how it works. We supply the box and you design it. You can create something completely you, add anything you want to it, and then it will arrive in 2 weeks. So when you start customizing, you can choose the color of your box, the pattern, the text color, and then you can enter your name to really make it customized. And then you can go through the whole series of contents and add anything you want to the box that really helps you. So for example, if there is something in the active box that you want, but you also want something in the socialized box, you can add a bunch of those things and then just add that to your cart and check out. So from here, I created a social media presence, which is compatible with each box. It contains prompts for the contents and activities in each, and people are prompted to share their experience and connect as a community over slow living. So for example, with the mindful box, stories would promote users to notice daily details and post photos with the box hashtag. So you could notice something colorful today and then post a photo with the hashtag and view how others have taken this prompt as well. And then this box would also prompt the user to use breathing exercise GIFs shown on the Instagram, and they can follow these to practice mindfulness and slow down. So each box contains an unboxing prompt to remind the user to sit down, take the time to be with their box, slow down and really experience it. And it can be used again and again, becoming part of their daily routine. So overall, my solution helps customize their slow down experience and delivers it right to their door for an affordable price. It creates an experience for them to partake in by themselves or with other people, family and friends. And most importantly, it gives people the tools to slow down and live more joyful lives. And also in response to the interruption of a pandemic during this project, which was super unforeseen, I was actually surprised that the importance of it was actually strengthened and solidified, because COVID-19 caused the entire world to just suddenly freeze and slow down. And we've really been forced to stay home and spend time with our families and actually sit down at the dinner table and not be rushing around. So although it is definitely a stressful time and has impacted everyone very differently, we have managed to come together and adapt to it. So when we return to a normal schedule, I was thinking people will miss this slow down time that they're having, and they'll need new ways of attaining it again. So my proposal for the future of this project would be to actually put it into place and make it happen. So thank you for being here, and I'll open it up to questions now. And I would also love to hear how experiencing this pandemic has helped you guys to slow down in your own lives.
Thank you very much. Wonderful presentation. Okay, guys, you heard Lyndon's question. This is a very important question. It's a very interesting question, especially in the context of her very robust project here. Anybody would like to take it away?
I was inspired by Lyndon's project. I was in Lyndon's class for this past semester, and being like mindful and like slow living wasn't something I really did, especially during school. And so when Lyndon started this project, I was like, oh, I should probably practice these things too, because we're kind of alike, just so we always get stressed and always focus on school. And then with the pandemic, like forcing us to, it was a really great time to take some of these practices. I've taken some advice like from Lyndon from her project, so it's very useful in like everyday life, not just when there is a pandemic.
Anybody else?
I have a question. I really enjoyed your presentation. This is something that I can relate to a lot, especially like being a college student. I, of course, have to balance like classes and jobs too. I was wondering, like, I especially see this being useful with college students. I was wondering, do you see the Slowbox being like more successful from like different demographics in terms of like age groups or perhaps like income and such?
Definitely. That was part of my research. At first, I was like, well, everybody could use this. Like, slowing down isn't just for one demographic. But when I did more research and gathered all the data, I noticed that like people like us, students and working professionals, were the busiest. So I think we can definitely benefit the most, but I wouldn't say that it's only for us. Like, I think anybody could really use it.
Cool. I agree.
Hi, Lyndon. It's nice to see you again.
You too, Joe.
Congratulations on a great project. This subject strikes near and dear to my heart for all sorts of reasons. One thing I've noticed with friends of mine who are still working from home is that they're working harder now than they were before. And I've talked to a few of my colleagues who don't have the good fortune of being on sabbatical this semester, and they say they're working harder now as well. So I couldn't agree with you more. I think that not only is the pandemic maybe giving people a taste of it, there are a lot of other people who are working harder now than before and actually need this than ever. Also, you know, just having been at Mass Art, like, I know I'm always telling you guys to try to get sleep, which is sort of the ultimate form of slowing down, right? But I know it's frustrating for you guys to hear that from me, because you're so busy and there's so much to do. And I think your generation has been hit now with the recession 8 years ago, and very high levels of mental health and stress and anxiety. This subject is so crucial, I think, to your well-being as young people. The health impact, as you know, you and I have talked about this, the health impact of stress, of busyness, of the anxiety that creates is enormous, and just will rob you of, you know, your health and your youth. So I'm really excited that you chose to do this. One question I had for you is, I know boxes like this are quite popular, is my impression. And I'm wondering how you decided to do the number that you did and why. And I thought the last question that the young man asked about the different age groups was fantastic. Could you sort of speak to like why you chose the number of boxes and how you figured out what the subject matter of each might be?
Yeah, so everything I did really came from that survey that I sent out, and I had a lot of participants. So it was really based on obviously everyone said something different about the ways that they slow down and start and end their days. So from looking at all of those answers, I compiled them all into different categories. So for example, if someone said that they like to exercise and then someone else said that they like to be outside and go on a run, I put those two together to make the active category. So from there, each box corresponds with those categories, if that makes sense.
Yeah, okay, great. The only thing I might wonder about is that I think a lot of people are going to be suffering economically for quite some time. I'm wondering if there might be like a freemium portion of this in the form of an app or a website that you might spread out, because you've got such great information to share with people. Do you know what I mean? Just a way to, especially college students your own age, who might find that price a bit high. Just something to think about.
Yeah, I think that could definitely work for the Instagram, because obviously you don't really have to pay for that, like the things like the breathing GIF and activity on the Instagram stories. Anyone could use that. And I also appreciate that you brought up the point that people are working harder right now, because it's funny that I'm doing this project, but I found myself working harder and for very long hours on it every single day. So I feel like I'm kind of like contradicting myself, because I'm like making a project on slowing down and I'm still doing it.
Right. Well, it's funny too, just the last thing I'll say is I was just a participant in Georgiana's presentation. Have you seen what she's been working on? It was like a nurse's aid kit, and the research she did on the stress that nurses face even before the pandemic really staggered me. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. So I think like be interesting to think. You ought to talk to her. I mean, there's a lot of overlap between what you guys are doing, and I have to say finally, I love the fact that you're thinking so carefully about how to help others. How to take a major problem that we tend not to talk about, maybe because it makes us feel better to be busy or more productive or more useful to the world, but we know it's so detrimental to our mental and physical health. So I love the fact that you're thinking about this. It's great. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody else? We have 2 minutes. All right, so I would like to add one final note. I agree 100% with what Joe Quackenbush brought to our discussion. Yes, I am one, like you, Lyndon, one of those who work harder during this time than before. And what I like about your project, and I feel it so that it's a successful idea here, is to bring this abstract idea of slow movement, which we all know sort of, oh yes, that's something probably good for us, into a practicality of it. If you go forward with this project, and I encourage you to do, I think what Joe said about adding a free component, adding something to make sure that this idea of yours, to translate this abstract notion into practicality of daily routine of slowing down, could be able to reach a broad audience without paying a lot of money.
Right.
Thank you very much. Very articulate presentation. I really enjoyed it very much. A beautiful visual language and robust thinking behind all of it. Thank you. Congratulations. Once again, bravo.
Thank you everybody for being here.
Congratulations, Lee.
Thank you.